Greetings, I'm Dr. Ketsia Alert Sadler, founder of College Cafe, and your moderator for the College Planning with NAAHP webinar series. The National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals and College Cafe welcome you to 2024. Hope it has been a great start for you, and we're looking forward to being part of your college planning, search, and everything that goes along with it. So today you'll have the opportunity to view some of the webinars from 2023's series. If you weren't able to join us, or if you joined and had to leave the broadcast earlier, here's your chance to watch them again. We had some amazing topics. We first talked about the college visit with Miss Vanessa Devericks from Montclair State University, and we had Dr. Gaetan Jean-Marie from Rowan University. And then we talked about running to pay for college, looking at all you athletes in the track and field realm. And so we had Coach John Prescott, Coach Cherie Ware-Powell, who's an award-winning coach at Felician University, and also Miss Michelle Neal. Then we moved on to a topic that's really interesting for parents, the actual parents' involvement in the college application process, and parents have to understand. We had two moms who went through the process with their children. The first mom is Philippa Sutherland, and our other parent is Miss Shanta Campbell, and their children are doing well at Drew University and Hampton University. And finally, we ended this year with looking at careers in music in the key of life. And our guests on that episode were Miss Jasmine Young from the Howard University, Dr. Gary Hollander, band director from Dwight Morrow High School in Englewood, New Jersey, and we had Armand David Sadler, hip hop reporter for Vibe magazine. So if you missed any of these episodes, we hope you will join us. Grab your popcorn, your favorite drink, and get ready to learn some things in order to fulfill your dreams of whatever your career choice will be. We look forward to working with you in 2024. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Greetings and welcome to College Planning with the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals. I'm Dr. Ketsia Alert Sadler, founder of College Cafe and your moderator for this webinar series. So excited tonight to have a topic that I know everyone is really looking forward to, because I've been texting everybody I know who has a child in track to tell them you need to be on today. But before we get started, I want to first thank, of course, the NAAHP for sponsoring this and being our main partner. In addition, we have Golden V and Parent Matters, in addition to College Cafe. We want to thank them for supporting the program and helping us empower our youth with information. So I'm really excited tonight because we have three guests who are experts in the area of track and field and all things related to that. We have first Miss Cherie Ware-Powell. We also have Miss Michelle Tulloch-Neil, and finally, Coach John Prescott. I'm not even going to go into their bios because they're amazing people. But I want to start with each of you and just ask you to tell us just a little bit about yourself, your academic journey, your career journey, and how you got involved in track. So let's start with Coach Powell.
Hi. I'm Cherie Ware-Powell. I started in track and field as a youth myself running. My father ran a track team in Englewood, so I started running for him at the age of 7. Then when I entered high school, my love kind of went into dancing, but my father always needed like assistance volunteers. So I did all my volunteer hours with my dad. And then he would send me to all the classes for USATF to gain all the knowledge. And I would come back and bring it to him while he coached the team. So I have been coaching, assisting him since I was 15. Then I went to Norfolk State University. I studied early childhood education. And I came back home in 2000 and I took over the team from my father, full-time head coach. So I did that. And then 2017, I went to St. Vincent Academy, and I coached there through the pandemic. And then after the pandemic, Felician University reached out to me and asked me would I join them. So I joined them last year.
Nice.
Okay, Coach Michelle, I'm going to call you Coach Michelle just because you're on. I know that's not your title, but you share with us, please. Tell us about your journey.
Okay, so I come from a family of athletes, and by the way, first, my name is Michelle Tulloch-Neil, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council representative, and also co-chair for Team Jamaica Bickle. So the thing about track and field is that it's a sport that you can be involved with that doesn't require a lot of money. You just need to be trained, and you can use your body. And coming from Jamaica, that was easy. So I started running in high school, but didn't make it to where I wanted to. So the next best thing is when you haven't made it in track and field, is to invest in others who can. And so throughout the years, I went to Holy Child High School in Jamaica, and throughout the years, I have sponsored the athletes in track and field. And then I got involved in Team Jamaica Bickle 18 years ago. Team Jamaica Bickle is an organization when the kids them come from all over for the pen relays. They are here in Philadelphia, and we supply them with transportation back and forth. We subsidize hotel costs, and we feed them while they're here. So even though I am not on the field, I made sure I am invested in others. And I think that's something that we all should aspire to do, not because I can't do it. There's so many other children that we can invest in their lives. And that's how I got involved. And I have never left.
Okay, well, thank you. So what I see is what our families did is kind of like what pushed us to do it. So, and things that you're around, familiarity, said, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. And I don't know what happened to Coach John, but Coach John, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. There all right. So share with us. Tell us about your journey and how you ended up becoming a track coach.
Okay. My name is John Prescott. I am currently the assistant track coach for throws, which is a shot put, discus, and javelin at West Orange High School in West Orange, New Jersey. Before I get into my story, first, I just want to say to Michelle, I love Jamaica Team Bickle at Penn Relays because y'all have some good food over there too. But you guys weren't there this year. You guys weren't there. You didn't have your big tent this year.
So if I may interject, they moved us to the Polera building. We are inside now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So come
all right.
Here.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next year at Penn's. Give me a plate ready.
Okay, I will.
My first interaction with track and field was as a track and field athlete, and I'm a graduate. I'm a high school graduate of Eastside High School, class of '89, and I was a scholarship basketball player at Barber Scotia College. I'm an alumni of Barber Scotia College, Concord, North Carolina. It's a small HBCU outside of Charlotte. But I first started to participate in track just to stay in shape for summer basketball, because in the spring, I didn't participate in any other sports. I played football and I played basketball at Eastside High School, but I didn't participate in any spring sport. So one of my coaches suggested that, hey, if you're not doing anything in the spring, go on a track team. And so that was my first introduction to track and field. My involvement as a coach began through my daughter, who I literally just dropped off Monday for her to start her second year at Rutgers University. She throws for Rutgers University in New Brunswick. I had been coaching her in fourth grade, her basketball team. And she did it. She participated in basketball. But I don't think she liked it. In fact, we spoke years later and stuff like that. She told me she really didn't like it. So, but she did do the entire season, and at some point toward the end of the season, I had asked her. We're on the way home from practice. I had asked her. I said, what do you think you want to do after basketball? I think you should do another sport. Now, I was prepared for her to say, I want to play softball, because that's what all the other little girls on her team, talking about 9 and 10-year-olds, that's what they did. Some of them went to some of them went to track, but most of them went to softball. And so I was prepared for that, but she said track. I said, okay. And so I found out who was who. I reached out to Dwayne Cox, who is the head coach for Transy East Track Club out of Paterson, New Jersey. And she joined the team. And after about a couple of weeks, she was still wanting to go to practice. I said, okay, let's see what you can do. And when we figured out she wasn't going to run or jump, Dwayne said, well, let her try the throws. And I said, okay. And he said to me, the only problem is, he said my throws coach just had a baby, so she won't be available. And he asked me, he said, did you ever throw before? I said, yeah, like 25 years ago in high school. He said, good, congratulations, coach. So I thought, I said, if I'm going to do this, I wanted to do it right. And so at first I was a YouTube coach. I found out who was who, and I started, with the YouTube videos. Then I started going to clinics, and as I was going to clinics, Olivia was coming with me. And so she was learning how to throw, and I was learning how to coach throws. And, soon after that, I got my USATF level 1 certification. Then I first started coaching at Dwight Morrow High School in Inglewood, which is where I met Cherie, right? Because Cherie was coaching the Inglewood Youth Club.
Yes.
And so after I coached there, I got the job closer to where I lived in West Orange, started coaching at West Orange High School, and now I'm here today. So that's my coaching journey with track.
Well, it's a good thing your daughter did it, because who knows, you might not.
Absolutely.
And it's so interesting how sometimes we end up following our children and their paths kind of direct us to what we do.
Right.
Like me with College Cafe is helping my children to get through the process.
Right.
So, but yeah, so we got so many questions that hopefully we'll get through all of them. So let's see what happens. So let's talk about the younger children, because you start with them as early as, I guess, 8 or 9.
Yeah, 7. We start with them at 7. They have to turn 7 in the year.
Okay. So how is it coaching younger children? Well, how do you help them focus, and how much time do you spend with them to see where their strengths are?
Yes. Yeah, so with the younger ones, so we start at age 7. We kind of break them up into different categories. And in the beginning, we kind of just throw them out there, go run a lap, go run 2 laps, go run 100, and we just pick them out. We write names down. We're like, oh, okay, that kid can do this and that kid can do that. And then once we break them up into little groups, we practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for 2 hours. Our track meets are on Sundays. So we just pick them in little groups, 7 through, I think, the 10-year-olds. We kind of play around, because what's interesting about track is that a 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-old star may not be a star when puberty hits. So some people are like the best. Like, for example, we both had a kid in common. We coached Michael. This one kid I got at 7 years old went to the National Junior Olympics for the 800-meter runner. And he was like the best runner ever. He turned 13 and he was 150 pounds heavier, and he was a master shot putter. and won at the Olympics because their body changes. So I always tell parents that a young sprinter, a young thrower, you just don't know when they hit 11, 12, 13, or 14. Some of them never progress. And then some stars peak out through, that. So that's the difference between like the young runners and the older runners. But they have to like it. I tell everybody, the main thing about youth track is that I always say our sport is everybody else's punishment. You mess up in football, you run. You mess up in basketball, you run. Everything you do, when you mess up, your penalty is to run. So even though it's great for exercise and everything, if you don't at least like it a little bit, it's very hard on your kid, because all we do majority of the time, if you're a runner, is run. Okay. So we kind of read them out. And then we also do race walk as well. So there's a technique to that. We have a wonderful race walk coach, and they get that as well. So some of the kids that don't run as well as younger age, we try to get them in race walk or long jump. Some kids can long jump. And then we have our throws team where coach will tell you about, the kids that are just super strong, the young kids that can throw the little, 5-pound ball. And we have javelin and we have discus. And so the younger kids kind of we trying to separate them by what they can do. And then when we get to the track meet, we say, go out there and try everything. Because sometimes you get a surprise with a younger kid. You just don't know. They'll get out there and become the best runner ever. And you're like, where'd that come from?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also, one of the things that stuck with me when I first took Olivia to join Transy East Track Club as a 9-year-old, about to turn 10. When we first got there, the first day, Coach Dwayne and Coach Erica, they told all the parents, they said, listen, don't go out and start buying cleats and track shoes and running shoes and this, that, don't do that. Wait about 2 weeks. And after about 2 weeks, you'll know whether or not your son or your daughter really wants to do this. Because the 2 weeks after the first day, like Cherie said, all they did was run laps, learn how to run, learn how to sprint. I mean, everybody. There was no field events or nothing like that. Everybody learned how to run, and all they did was run laps the entire practice. And then they learned sprint form and running form and stuff like that when they weren't running laps. So after about 2 weeks, Olivia was still asking me, are we going to practice? So I said, okay, she's in. And so that's what stuck with me.
And Coach, you're so right about that, especially with the younger kids. That 2 weeks, like people say, I got on the waiting list. I said, it's okay. Give it about 2 weeks, and my roster will go from 150 kids down to 65. And, they'll come on, because parents just think, oh, it's good, easy. It's a track team. Just sit them out there. But, it's not that easy. Yeah, it's not that sport.
It's different for Jamaica because over the years we have had so many gifted runners, right? So that's the motivation. And because we utilize the beach so much, right? That's what you do. You go to the beach. So you want to be the next Usain Bolt. You want to be the next Shelly-Ann Fraser. So you just put that in front of them and they will run. You want to go to the beach? Yes, that's where we're going to go first thing in the morning so we can practice. So it's different what motivates children. And that's what you want to do. Whatever it is that you can use, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then we always run in our neighborhood. We're always running, right? Summer school, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be outside. Your mom and dad is going to put stuff there, and everybody's going to be passing the baton, which would be whatever stick you can find in your yard, and you're going to run. And so running is just a part of Jamaica's culture now. So, and that's what makes it a little bit easier because I remember I started running at 3 years old, right? That's what you do. You just run.
Got it. And as you're talking, our older son actually did track and cross country all throughout high school. I remember when he was little, maybe like 4 or 5, we lived in a complex with a circular driveway. So he would just go outside and run and run. And we're like, oh, okay, maybe he's going to do track. So we started him at Englewood Track. And so this was like maybe 98, 99. But like, I guess we didn't totally understand how the track meets went and how long they could be. And so that was probably the only thing that we let him quit. I think we went to one track meet and we were that group of parents that dropped out. We were like, okay, you don't have to do this. But then he refound the love of it when he got older. And he even runs now. He's been out of college for 10 years and he still will go outside and just run because he just likes running. So that question, my next question is for me. So how do parents support their children? Besides, I mean, you guys said, if the child wants to do it, do it. But what about the child who you think has a talent but still doesn't want to do it? How can you talk to parents to encourage the child in that sense?
Well, one thing I say to parents, and I'm sure Cherie and Michelle, they'll back me up on this, is that it is as much a commitment for the parents as it is for the child. For your son or daughter, you are going to have to make the same sacrifices because you're right. Those track meets are all day affairs, and all of the traveling and the hotels and going out every weekend on a Saturday or a Sunday and basically giving up your day all spring or /summer. So it's way different than a football parent, a soccer parent, a baseball or a basketball, AAU basketball parent, where they could just, hey, here, I'll drop you off for a couple of hours. I'm going to go do this and then I'll be back. No, it doesn't. And furthermore, the coaches of these youth track clubs now, for good reason, require parents' participation with the track club. That's because it's really important with fundraising and helping out, marshaling the kids and making sure they have whatever they need and getting them to their events, whatever. Some of them do multiple events. And so some parents are assigned to, hey, you get these kids to the high jump or get them to the throws area and stuff like that. Making sure, the track event or the track meet runs smoothly. So that's the difference between a track parent and other youth sports parents.
And like you were saying, like to motivate a kid to do it. Like I always say, for some reason, this sport, it actually has to be loved by the athlete. For some reason, it's not one of those sports where a parent can convince them to. I don't know why. Maybe because I do know why. Because it's really hard. It's really hard. So I see parents, and I know their kid is good, and I feel it because I want them to run too. But I can tell them from every time they come to practice, I'm like, this kid is not going to make it on this team because they hate it. Some kids either be terrible and love. Some of the worst runners love the team to death. They'll come every time and get out there. And I can see amazing, talented athletes, parents begging them. But it is so grueling. Running is hard. Even if we go out there and try to run, it's not easy. So it's one of those sports where the child actually has to like it. And then once they like it, the parent has to buy in. Like I run a youth team. So even though I would love to have the parent support here in the town that I am, I don't always have it. I have like maybe 10 or 15 parents a year out of the 100 kids that register for the team. So I have 10 or 15, but it is a major commitment. Like Coach said, I mean, they have to be ready to, go to a track meet at 11 o'clock on a Sunday, because we run on Sundays, and then come home at 5:30 and, you didn't get your dinner or you didn't do anything. And then we run the USATF circuit where then, this year Nationals was in Oregon. If fundraising is different after COVID. You know, companies are not giving money anymore, you know, so it was like, how would you get to Oregon, coach? I'm like, I don't know, because life is different. Fundraising is harder. Money is different right now. So I'm like, parents have to be ready. Like, if you want to do this seriously and do that circuit, you don't have to necessarily do the Junior Olympic circuit. You can kind of just do the regular town meets and end it. But if you're serious about it, it is money. It does cost when you have to travel. You know, the actual team is not that much. The actual, you know, little sneakers and thing may not be as expensive because we don't have the insurance like football and a lot of those other things. But track is a lot of travel when you're going to the next level. And that's the hardest. Like next year, we're already planning because Nationals is in Texas. You know, and the 2 years ago, the year before COVID, I took 65 kids to Sacramento. You know, it was like, how do you do it? And I'm just like, each coach took a bunch of kids on the plane. You know, I took the first kids that had to compete the first couple of days. Then the next coach came flying in with the next 10 kids. Then you get there and we had charter buses. And, you know, once we got to California, you know, it's difficult. You know, it's a lot of money. So I think love of the sport, you know, it's one of those things you have to really love the sport.
I couldn't agree with you more. Both of you, love and commitment is required. And when I think about it, because for this year, after the Penn Relays, I hosted my school, Holy Childhood and St. Catherine High students at my house. And you're trying to figure out, what do you do? No, first we went shopping and I said to them, what are we buying? And they were like, track clothes. And I'm like, don't you want to buy regular clothes? And they're like, we don't have time for that. It's really a commitment. Like, and they said to me, Michelle, whenever I'm not running, I'm studying because they're in school, you know, so you definitely have to love it, and commitment is required if you really want to succeed, and that's your passion. So I would tell a parent, does your child really love this? And is he committed to what it's going to require? Sacrifice is important. What you eat, how often you exercise, how much practice you are in, practicing late at night. And I said that in Jamaica, they utilize the beach a lot to build stamina and strength.
Yeah, it's probably pretty hard running on the sand as opposed to on the street or whatever.
Yeah, well, but you'll see the difference on the field as a result of running on the sand. It makes a difference.
Okay, so that's probably why Jamaica's been dominating for a few years now. Okay, all right. Hadn't really thought about that. But so I want to go to the point, Coach Cherie, you made the point talking about the Junior Olympics. So how do kids make the transition if they're not going to Junior Olympics? How would coaches see them? Are the college coaches going to these smaller track meets and things like that?
Yeah. So Junior Olympics is like the summer series. A lot of colleges just this year is my first year actually doing the actual recruiting this year. They go to the high school track meets. A lot of your times and everything is posted on your mile split, and we look a lot at that. We go in to see the times with your running compared to other kids that you're running against. One thing that I would say about like the AAU nationals or the Junior Olympic nationals when you're at 17, 18, 15, 16, and 17, 18 is that you're not running against the same people all the time. And we get to see how a New Jersey person, because it's amazing. Like, I love some of my kids and they will be the best in New Jersey. They will leave the state of New Jersey and will have never lost a race. And I will take them to nationals and they will be like 53rd. You know what I mean? But so if you love it, those things are important because, especially, you know, kids are kids. They get very big headed and they think they're the best. And they need to see what competition is all around the United States. And so as a college coach in recruiting, I like to see kids when they're out of their comfort zone, when they don't know who they're about to run against. So nationals help you with that because you get to see what are they really made of. You're good, but are you going to give up? Are you going to pull up at the finish line when you notice that you're losing? You know what I mean? So you can still be seen through high school if you put up the good times. If you are good, you will always be found. It doesn't matter what school you go to, what name. If you can put up the numbers that you need, you will be found. I just think more exposure helps out.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment?
That is absolutely 100% right. I always tell kids, if you can run, jump, or throw, a scout will find you. A scout will find you. And the same thing, just like Coach said, it's good that it's yeah, that's right. You in my event, the throws, it's good that you dominate everybody in New Jersey. I said, but then you get to nationals, and now you're throwing against kids from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and Florida, in Georgia, where they do it all year round. So yeah, it's the level of competition. The level of competition increases. And one thing I like that Penn Relays has done now, and actually Nike and Adidas Nationals or New Balance Nationals, they've added middle school events. Which is really good. I'm glad they didn't do it for throws, because it's a couple of different implements for throws. But in the running events, they've now added middle school events. Seventh, I think 6, 7, 8, if I'm not mistaken, right? And this past Penn Relays, I got a chance to watch some of those young kids, and like those kids are good. And they're running against, other kids from all over the country. And so the level of competition is good. And again, like Coach said, the scouts are there. You see them there with their, polos and the school logos on the polos and stuff, and gear and book bags and stuff like that. So they are there. They are there. So if you really have the talent, there are plenty of opportunities for you to showcase your talent. And also during the high school season, there are certain meets. That you'll get a lot of college coaches to attend. Big invitationals, regional invitationals and stuff like that. High level varsity events. Especially indoor at the Armory and at Ocean Breeze and stuff like that. And then like a lot of the outdoor events, there are, a tremendous amount, you got Penn Relays, you got the New York Relays, again, just those two off the top of my head. There are plenty of, opportunities for a kid to showcase their talent, his or her talent.
The one thing I would add is exposure. And I say that because this is one, there's an athlete in Jamaica that is very good. But what happened is that once he's in Jamaica, he runs well. When he comes to America and there's so many people in the stand, that nerves alone affects him. So you have that mental thing as well. And to this day, he runs very well, which I won't call his name, but if he's in front of a crowd, it's a totally different situation. So exposure is important. Even if they run these races and come last, give them the exposure. Take them everywhere they can. They will develop friendship or see faces or whatever it is. But that exposure is really, really key.
So if the coaches are seeing the kids, how important is it for them in high school to sign up on, say, NCAA.org? Is that necessary or is it extra?
Well, you have to register with the NCAA clearinghouse after your sophomore year, or either during or after your sophomore year. You have to be registered, so that to let the NCAA know that you are eligible to be recruited, as a college student athlete.
And we have to be able to see that, because if you're not registered there, we can't just talk to anyone. There's like criteria and things that we have to check. So even if I see someone at a meet, you know, you can give them your card or something, but then you got to go back in and look at, you know, their grades, you know, and everything before. You can't just go and speak to anyone and offer them anything. You can give your card and say, you know, hello, but you can't do any real talk unless you know that everything is clear with the NCAA. So that's just standard. You have to have that.
Okay.
Clearance.
Okay. All right. So that helps me, because I wasn't totally sure how that piece of it worked. So kind of related to that, can we talk about the different divisions in sports? Because we hear about Division 1, 2, 3 with the scholarships, etc. So what is the difference when it comes to track and the scholarships?
So it's basically D1, which they call like the elite athlete, and then D2 they consider, you know, maybe not as elite, but, you know, approaching. And then D3 is kind of, you know, you're into the sport, you're good at the sport, but you may not be at that highest level. That's what they say, right? But then as a coach, I'm going to tell you something different. But I'm just going to give you, that's what they say. My personal opinion is you go where you're comfortable, where you can actually compete, because just because you go to D1 doesn't mean that you will get a chance to compete, because they recruit you and give you money. But that doesn't mean you will be able to compete. You may just be there sitting on 4 years and never see the track. So you have to go where you can fit in, meaning that if you know you run a certain time in the race, you want to look at that team. You can go search any team you want and look at their numbers on their team. What did their fastest runner run? You know, what did their slowest person run? Oh, I know if I go here, a D2 school, which I'm a coach of a D2 school, I can go to a D2 school, which I had one of my athletes went to a D2 school for 2 years, and then now is at Rutgers with your daughter, and now at Rutgers, and now elevated to a D1 because they got more basics at D2. He was a full ride at the D2 school between academics and track and field, and he's also a full ride at a D1 school, you know, with academics and track and field. So I always tell kids, don't get caught up in that D1, D2, D3, because it's your life. Mm-hmm. And once again, if you want to become a professional, it doesn't matter what D you're at. If you're good enough, you will be a professional. So I wish people would get out of that thinking, oh, I'm a D1 athlete, but you're a D1 athlete that never got on the track, or you a D2 athlete that is a star. You know what I mean? So even though, yes, there is certain classes, I just wish people would kind of put that out. And as a parent and as an athlete, look at the team, look at the coaches, look at the school, and know that you'll be comfortable. Because when you're comfortable, you will succeed regardless of where you're at.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things that was most important for me in my daughter's recruitment. Was her comfort level with where she was at, because it like, hey, you're the one that has to be here for the next 4 years, not me. So, I tell athletes the same thing. Now in the throws, 55, 60 feet in shot put is the same whether you throw it at Felician or whether you throw it at USC. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shot put, it's the same sector, it's the same event. So you can, or in JUCO, a lot of athletes are just discounting junior college. I'm a product of junior college, so don't discard. I tell kids, whoever gives you the most money and wherever you feel the most comfortable, that's where you go. Now, when you get there, you do your thing. Wherever you land, you do your thing. If you do your thing, it won't matter what school you go to. Everybody can't compete at Power 5 schools. But here's the other thing: everybody doesn't have to compete at a Power 5 school. Again, you throw 55, 60 feet. It doesn't matter where you do it. you know, you'll qualify. You will qualify for regionals, and you know, and you'll help your school win conference and stuff like that. So, you know, again, just like Coach said, you know, I tell kids all the time, stop getting caught up in what division. Sometimes I wish they didn't even do it like that. You know, rank the schools like that. You know, especially with all the realignment going on. You know, so you know, yeah, I'm definitely I agree with Coach on that.
Okay, I just want to say I totally agree with you on the whole division, and until it has changed, we need to prepare our children that you might go to this school and you might not run for the first year, because it can become devastating. I remember for soccer, I mean football, we call it soccer here, and they got somebody from Jamaica, and she came over, and she was actually the face on the school website and everything. And she called me. She says, "I don't understand. I haven't played, but I'm on the this, da da da." And she talking to the coach, and the coach was just like, "Just sit there. We'll get to you." She says, "I don't understand." And then you had to, because nobody prepared her to say, "Okay, yes, you got here, but for the first year, you are just going to practice. You're not even playing soccer for the school." And so until that whole division and class and all this change, we have to do our part to prepare our children like this is how it is in the real world.
Well,
but the money aspect of it, you can get if they want you, if a college wants you and you're good enough, and they will get you the money at the best they can. You know, we all have our budgets. You know, we can say this is our budget. And of course you will give a little more money to the kid that's, you know, faster or whatever. And sometimes you luck out because you come in at the end and there's some money left over, you know, things like that happen. But if you're serious about it and you have the grades and you have good coaches' recommendations, which is major. If your high school coach says you're uncoachable, it totally turns someone off. You know, they find the money. You can try to find the money, but you can get a scholarship. You know, track is more than what it was when we were younger. You know, we're now competing with the footballs and the basketballs. Our pictures are now up. Our conference banner is in the gym next to the basketball. You know what I mean? Like, so it's different. We had a parade and everything when we won conference. So it's coming up. So the money is there. If you're, you know, have the grades, mainly have the grades. Have a good work ethic, have good recommendations from teachers and coaches, and the numbers. You know, the main thing I tell a kid, go as soon as you like a school. I like this school. What do you run? The 100. Go and look at all their 100-meter times. Are you in this sector of these times? If you are, or close to it, or approaching it, then go after that school. Because sometimes the coach will take you, right? And they'll say, oh, this kid is fast. But they'll have 12 kids faster. And if you don't know that, you'll go there and a 100 comes out. I can only put 7 athletes, but I got 13 sprinters. I'm going to put the top 7 athletes out there. And you're going to be the best. But if you would have went to the D2 school, you would have been the first runner. And you'll run the whole season. You know, so you have to do your research. And it's exciting when a coach comes to you and tells you, you know, I got this money and you're going to be on this team. And then your kid gets there and they're crying, you know, because they didn't. But you also can go to D2, get more money and run every time. And then maybe even transfer to a D1 if that's, you know, what you want to do. So, you know, we just got to look at it like that, you know, give our kids a good start at it. Let's just don't get caught up in the D1 thing.
Okay. That's good to know, because I'm pretty sure a lot of students do get caught up, say, oh, I'm at a D1 school or whatever. But so if a school has a track team, do they always have money in scholarship for students? Because what if will they have a team but not have scholarship money? Because what if a kid is a really good track runner, but your school's not offering money? Like, how would they?
Okay, so there's all different ways. That's why I said your academics and everything. Okay. So you have, like, schools have certain budgets of it, you know, so sometimes it'll be like, you say you have a good athlete and we're like, oh, are they EOF qualified? You know, can we get them this grant? So it may not all come from track, But as coaches, we will find grants and things to help make up the difference. You know, if your kid is on financial aid, you know, maybe we can give that some money, some grants that will help with housing. You know what I mean? There's all different things that factor a full ride. So a full ride doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting all the money from the track organization. It just means that you're not having to pay anything. Now, how it is made up from money from EOF, is made up from money from, you know, different grants and scholarships, you know. So that's kind of what a full ride means. Just means the parent doesn't pay, but it doesn't mean that all the money is actually coming from the team. It just, you know, the money was found for you to go to the school.
Got it.
Because our athletes are from Jamaica, we require full ride because they are coming here to the U.S., so to speak, with no family or anything like that. So while we don't always get, but it's something that we try to make sure they have full rights, so they are taken care of while they're here. And then they use the organization Team Jamaica Bickle. We are like mentor for them, and they'll have our name and number. So, and then we'll go and drop off food by them, and we'll go to their meet and cheer them on because they're coming from another island and they might not have any family here. So for us, it's important to get a full ride for that purpose.
Oh, definitely. I have a couple of girls on my team, and we try our best, you know, to make. And they're wonderful girls, but they actually have family in the United States, so it helped them out a lot.
Yeah,
but, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I always love them because, you know, when the winter hits and we're still outside, it's a whole nother life, you know, for them.
I can imagine. But so let's talk about the college athlete, the track runner. How are they supported academically? What does a day in a life of a college track star look like?
Well, for us, our girls this year, they wake up at 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. They do weightlifting. They have weightlifting. Then they have their regular class time during the day. And then we practice every day from like 3 to 5 or 6, like in the afternoon. And then they have study hall and everything at the end of the day. They required to go to study hall. So they have that. And we have a team study hall, which I think is wonderful because the kids can study together, which is great. If their grade point average goes below a C, they have mandated Saturday study halls where they have to go in and they have one-on-one help with their courses. But it's a long day. It's a long day because you do have to get up. You do have to do your weight training and you do have practice every day. With that being said, especially since the pandemic, mental health is more apparent now. So we do have counseling. There's counselors there to help get through it. And we're good with them in honesty, because sometimes it's hard. And they're just like, you know, I'm overwhelmed, especially I would say like the nursing students when they have clinicals and, you know, they're doing a lot. We try to support them as best they can with as much tutoring, as much peer tutoring or one-on-one. I think colleges have come a long way with the tutoring departments and going to department heads and helping with that student athlete. But the grade point average has to stay up or they cannot participate. So that's the hardest part, is the transition from leaving home, having someone help you or make you do your homework, and then getting up there. So a lot of times it slips, and we have a lot of kids that come to school and are not running because they didn't do what they needed to do, which they do not necessarily lose their scholarship right off the back, or they don't have to go back right off the bat. They may get a grace period, you know, to help them get it up for the next year. But it's hard. It's very difficult. It's an all-day thing. It's a commitment.
One of the things that I liked about Rutgers when we went on the visit is the support for the student athletes that they have there. They have an entire building on campus that is academic support just for the student athletes. It's like a whole, I think it's like a 4 or 5 story building, and it's all academic and whatever support for the student athletes. And because it is a long day and the kids can get overwhelmed. And I'll just share, my daughter, she struggled. You know, she left West Orange High School. She was big fish in, you know, small pond. And as she goes to Rutgers, now she's little fish in a big pond. And she has to reestablish herself all over again. And you know, time management. I tell my athletes all the time when they become, I tell them all, but especially I like to drive the point home when they become juniors and seniors in high school. The most important skill you will have when you leave high school going into college is time management. Time management, because like Coach said, you don't have somebody on you all the time telling you get this assignment done, get their homework done, blah 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 blah. You are left to your own devices to do it. And so like, you know, that can, and if, you know, like Olivia, she kind of struggled, you know, she kind of let her time management get away from her, and she buried herself in a little bit of a hole, but she dug herself out. She was able to dig herself out, but she was overwhelmed. And so that kind of affected, you know, her performance as, you know, as a thrower. You know, again, she struggled. One of the other things that helped her was they also have sports psychologists readily available. And, you know, I suggested to her, even before her first day she got on campus, schedule a weekly with the sports psychologist. Take advantage of all the resources that are available to you. And so she's done that, and it's been really helpful for her because, you know, again, mental health is now a big part of training. Their mental health, the kids, you know, mental health, because they don't have the same experience as non-athlete students on campus. It's just a tremendous difference, and it can be overwhelming for, you know, students who really aren't prepared for that, you know.
And just so you know, NCAA does, we have been fully certified on sports and being sensitive to different type of mental issues. This year, I took almost 20 hours of courses, you know, on just how to deal with kids and their mental issues and ourselves. You know what I mean? And I really opened my eyes to things. I was like, wow, I wish I had a coach that knew this when I was younger. You know what I mean? Because before it was like, it doesn't matter, just get up and go. And I needed someone to sometimes say to me, you know, wait a second, take a minute and take care of yourself. You know what I mean? So we are now trained to be able to say that and to be able to see it. And like you said, we also have sports therapists on the campus that the kids can go to anytime they want to. Doors always open, and they can call anytime at night. It's 24 hours. So that's really big, Coach. That's definitely.
Yeah, the good thing about the sports therapists is that the stigma of going and speaking to somebody when you're not okay, the stigma of that if it hasn't gone totally away, it's really fading. It's really been fading because mental health is like it's just as much a part as as being physically trained well. You know, you have to be mentally, trained as well. So, yeah.
So are those supports available for the high school age athlete as well? Do you know?
So there are people, the counselors and things that you can go to. I don't think it's as in depth as the college level because it's kind of more, they're more on their own in college, so they have it available a lot more. But there should be someone, I would say go to your counselors. A lot of schools now have a lot of implementing a lot of things that can happen. They don't necessarily have the sports therapist in the high schools, which is needed. But like I said, the pressure and the change between high school athletics and college athletics is like 150%. It is completely different, because high school is like, okay, you walk out of class and you and your friends are just going to walk down to the track and, we're going to go to practice. And here it's like, our track is not even at our school. So, you got to get 20 minutes somewhere, or, you got to get here, you got to get there. You have to manage your time. So it's different. And then you're homesick. And then you're adjusting. You have that, you know what I mean? We become a family, because my phone rings and I'm like, who's this now? Calling me, Coach, I'm stuck. All right, I'm coming. Because, hey, I'm that person too, because we're together every day. Like, track practice is different between high school and we're together every day in season, Monday through Sunday. Even on our breaks, we have like team bondings, so you're together. And it's a lot, and if you struggle academically, it's even harder, because, the kid that gets it like that, they're good because they can do the book work really easy, and then they can get to track practice. But that's not most of our athletes. Most of our athletes need to really concentrate on the books and then really concentrate, because some of them are only at school because of track, because they're getting the scholarship money. So it's difficult. Yeah.
So while we're on the subject of health, let's talk about the nutrition piece. So even with the young babies, what are we telling them that is appropriate or not appropriate to eat? And how do we help the parents to understand that too? Because they're the ones doing the grocery shopping.
Oh my goodness. So Coach, you could probably attest to this. It is so hard with the babies. I'll be at a track meet. I send all the lists home. I send everything. They know from day one what they're supposed to eat, what they can't eat, and they'll sneak a kid about to run a race. I look back and the parent is giving them Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't understand. It's not the kids, it's the parents. At a track meet, you can only eat like nuts and berries and fruits. You know how it is. And those kids are hungry and they try to cuddle up with the parent, and they eating heroes coming down with. It's the same. Nutrition is big, but honestly, it's the parents.
The worst thing is soda. Soda. Yes. I can't believe the number of really overall athletes, but especially track and field athletes, yep, who like drink soda and the sugary juices and stuff like that. Now, I'll say, as far as throwers go, we're not about to go out and run anywhere. So
right.
Throwers
Coach, you still gotta do nutrition.
Throwers can pretty much eat whatever. Yeah. But if you are going to compete at the next level, you really do have to start taking care of your body. More water. Get rid of the sugary drinks. Get rid of the Gatorade. Get rid of the Gatorade and stuff like that. Drink more water, eat more fruit, really, more protein. One of the things that aggravated me to no end is that I would, like, on the day of a meet, or even on the day of practice, when we just have practice, I would say, well, what'd you have for breakfast this morning? Coach, I don't eat breakfast. I don't eat. What do you mean you don't eat breakfast? You're talking about being out all day long, and the only thing you've had is a sandwich for lunch. You haven't had anything outside of that. Like, that is crazy. Not even a smoothie. That's why, like, we bring the Nutri-Grain bars and stuff like that to practice. Because these kids, they go all day and they don't hydrate, they don't eat, and when they do eat, they eat like garbage, and then they expect to go out and practice at a high level or compete at a high level. And I'm like, you can't do that. How do you're asking too much of your body to do that. Your body needs fuel. If you're going to have a good practice, you need to get up in the morning and give your body some protein. Even if you don't like to eat like a full breakfast, you got to have at least a smoothie, at least a protein shake, something that can get your body started, that gives your body fuel so that you can do your athletic best.
And that is so true. But what Jamaica doesn't have half of the problems because we don't have so much we do have Kentucky, but we don't have many McDonald's or blah, 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 blah. However, you are taught from very early that that is not an option. So you won't find the Jamaican athletes asking for the McDonald's or the Kentucky. They already know. But they also in Jamaica do the education piece. Because I remember athletes coming to me, even with certain fruits or stuff, they'll tell you, Miss, I cannot eat that because it takes 2.5 hours to go through my body. And if that is the situation, I am going to not be as fast as I can. That's the reason why at Penn Relays, we are there at 4 o'clock in the morning preparing their food. And Jamaica, I remember when Usain Bolt was running and everybody talk about the yam? We do the yam. So I remember one of the year when we asked the athletes in Jamaica, because what we want to make sure when the athletes come here, they're eating the same thing that they ate in Jamaica, because if not, it's going to have a problem. And that's one of the reasons why when our athletes go abroad, like maybe any one of those Asian countries, we do take our food with us. Like it does go. And they say, what do you want for breakfast? And it's stew chicken. And it's yam, and it's a banana, and it's all that food. And they know they cannot eat 3 hours before they race. If you are late getting to the tent and you run at 9 o'clock, you need to be there at least 5:36. If not, the coaches behaving like parents. They're like, did you eat? No? Okay, then you're not eating because you're running at 9 o'clock and we are depending on you to do what you came to the U.S. to do. So we have it a little bit different, but the education piece is also important. And then while Jamaica is not an island that eats a lot of fast food, so they're always we grow up eating the necessary food. But the mental part and the food, the nutrition is extremely important for you to be successful in running. If you're not eating, you can run as fast as you can, and you're not doing that nutrition part, it is going to show. It is going to show.
And that was the main thing. I like what you said, because I think that's what we go against here in the United States, is that it's the parents. You know what I mean? I can say anything I want, but the kids are going to come and I'm going to ask them. And I tell you, I break it down. In college, they have a nutritionist that they actually go see. They have the court, that they actually go see. But with the younger kids, it's extremely hard because, they eat what their parents cook. And I can send whatever, I copy it. USATF has it plain. You could just print it out and it has meals and everything. I don't even have to do the research. I could just print it out and send it. I email. I give them lists of everything if they have to eat. And, it's difficult because it's the parents. And, but like I said, that comes in generational. You know what I mean? If their parents were never an athlete, and they're not healthy themselves, it doesn't pass on to the kid. So it's difficult.
That is absolutely right. One thing I use in social media is on Instagram. I follow a lot of the sports performance accounts from like all of the schools, all of the D1 schools, and all schools who have sports performance, or they call it sports nutrition, stuff like that. And they post a lot of good information. And I'm constantly sending my kids, things that, that help take care of their body. You should eat, if you don't like to drink a lot of water, there are certain fruits, watermelon, pineapple, that will keep you hydrated, stuff like that. So I send them I literally bombard them with all this information and stuff like that, because it is important. And I think one thing we need to do, at the high school level, is when we have our parent meeting, sports nutrition should be a part of that meeting. That should be on the agenda of every parent meeting for every, even at the youth level, coach, even at the youth level, like Michelle said, that's part of their training. That's part of they are raised and taught that from an early age. And I think that's something that needs to be done here too. But again, like you said, the at the youth level, the kids can only eat what their parents give them. They can't say, I want a protein shake or anything like that, something like that. They can say it, but the parents will be like, well, I'm giving you this. You better eat this if you want to eat, So, it is important to educate the parents about sports nutrition too, especially again, because a lot of parents are looking, for these scholarships and stuff like that. And, I want my baby to get a scholarship, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? You have to be educated too, And, it's important for these kids to develop these habits, good eating habits, and taking care of your body at a young age so that they don't struggle with it in high school and eventually when they do get to college.
And that also goes with underweight, because we always talk about overweight, but especially at the college level with these young ladies who, body image and all that stuff too. Because I always say, if you want to be a sprinter, you need muscle tone, but I need some fat on you to build that muscle tone, because you have no fat on you. So when you weightlifted, what are we trying to build? You need to eat. So that was, that's a big thing that we've always seen to talk about, the overweight kids, but the underweight athletes are just as bad. And it's actually just as prevalent too. The underweight kids, and it's detrimental to them. Those are the ones that's dizzy. Those are the ones that's passing out. Those are what, having these real issues that they can stop as long as they eat. I'm like, go get a hamburger. At that point, I'm like, you can eat a hamburger, cut it in half, eat a hamburger a week, just because I want you to get the protein, or I want you to get the beef. I want you something, get something in you, because you're not eating. You're only eating watermelon all day. And I need you to eat something besides watermelon all day, or have the stewed chicken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mother's from down south, so a pork chop and rice, my mother bake a pork chop and some rice, and my friends would come over like, what you eat for breakfast? I'm like, my mother's from South Carolina, My husband was like, you have to learn how to cook pancakes. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you put a pot of rice on the stove, but that's how I was raised. And I tell the kids, the underweight kids, which we don't talk about enough, they also need nutrition and have to eat.
Right. And Coach Cherie, you are so right about and we seem to forget about the underweight ones, because we are uplifting weights, but what are we turning to muscles? Like, you need some fat here, so then their diet is also different as well. And so we need to look at it from both. You are so correct. Yeah. Give me that rice and peas and that jerk chicken and
that's
chicken.
Right.
I'm telling you about Coach Cherie. The first time I heard that, I was like, what? That's not breakfast food. And they were like, that's what they need in order to compete. And we're like, okay, we'll do it.
My husband was like, my stomach hurt. I'm like, you'll get used to it.
and as you said, the water is so important. The watermelon and the pineapple, any one of those is really good to help your athletes as well. But keep on drinking the water. Just flush that system. I need you to,
Right. Well, we know most people tell you, well, I don't like the way water tastes. You get used to it. But let's go back to the Gatorade piece of it, because I'm always thinking Gatorade, replenish. So what's the bad stuff with Gatorade?
Well, the thing with Gatorade should be used to replenish what you've lost already. To wake up in the morning or have a Gatorade with your lunch, with a sandwich or something like that, that's no good, because all of the sodium and sugar that is in Gatorade. If you're out running, if you're out training, or if you're out competing, and so Coach Cherie knows when the Junior Olympics next year in Humble, Texas, right? That's a different kind of heat. That's a much different kind of heat. So cold Gatorades are going to be really important, because the kids are going to lose so much sodium out of their bodies from sweating and exerting all that energy. That's when you use Gatorade. That's when you drink Gatorades. or even the power aids, stuff like that, those drinks like that. But even if you don't do that, you can still use water. Just, regular water. And I tell kids all the time, if you don't like the way it tastes, water doesn't have a taste. All right, so add a lemon or add a lime, add lime juice or lemon juice or something like that. Anything to keep you hydrated. So yes, Gatorade is not, like a casual drink. This is really to replenish the electrolytes and sodium that you've lost from sweating and training.
And Coach, you're so right. And people did that about Gatorade, because if you watch a Gatorade commercial or you see anything about Gatorade, they're all sweating and they're all running. I don't know when somebody told them that Gatorade was for during the day. Any commercial you see on Gatorade, the person have beads of sweat dripping down because it is a replenishing drink. Right. Mm-hmm. If you are not running, first of all, not even running, if you are not sweating, you do not need it. Like if you're sweating profusely and your shirt is wet and you're sweating, yes, I would say you can drink a Gatorade right then, because that's when you need it. But if you don't have any sweat beads, and I mean the beads that's dripping off of you, you do not need Gatorade. You can just go ahead and drink some water.
Yeah. They need to change the name then to like Sweat Aid or something.
But it says thirst quencher. It has the thing. If you read it, it does say replenisher.
That's the operative word, though. It's probably in some fine print that no one's paying attention to. The Gator part is just too big. It's too big.
But again, that's where we need to educate our parents. We need to educate our parents, and we need to educate these kids on the dangers, because you have all that sugar, and now your body composition starts to change and stuff like that from all the sugar. If you drink a Gatorade every day, just as a drink instead of drinking water, that's bad for your kidneys. So it can be detrimental to you. And again, we have to educate.
Okay.
Educate.
Mm-hmm. So speaking on education piece, we had a question about the Penn relays. How does a student or an athlete end up running in the Penn relays?
Got to qualify.
Okay.
Look on Mile Split. I think the Penn relays is at the end of April, every April. I believe the last day you have to qualify is I want to say somewhere between April 1st and April 10th. You can get in one of those like last chance meets to qualify. Go on the website. The Penn Relays website. They have a really good, informative website. Have all the information you need to know. And again, you have to qualify. So if you want to throw at Penn Relays, if you want to throw shot put, and that's the other thing too. For the throws, you can only pick one event. So at least, that's the way it was last year. Every year you can only pick one event. So if you want to throw shot put at Penn Relays, you have until sometime between August 1st and April 1st and April 10th to throw. If you're a high school boy, you have to throw 52 or 53 feet to qualify. That's a high mark. That's a high mark for a high school. But then again, you got kids coming from all over the country, throwing. So you gotta, you gotta be realistic, and you got to do what it takes to qualify. And that's just what it is. You got to qualify.
Yeah, it's like a championship. You can look at it almost, like a championship meet. It's the best of the best. So you have to look it up. Their times, your coaches will know what times and things you need to hit for what division that you're in, you know, where your school falls and what division or that you're in, and you have to qualify. It's one of the greatest track and field meets, you know, that you can go to, even as a spectator. You know, if you just love the sport, or you just want to see the sport at its, you know, epitome, you know, and you're here and you're close enough, it is just a wonderful place to be. But you just have to hit the mark. And you can look at the mark early, you know, and then strive to get it. You know, unlike track and field, you know, it's always about your personal best. You know, everything is your personal best. Your personal best today may not be your personal best tomorrow. You may hit your personal best and never hit it again. You know what I mean? So you just find the marks and you work at it every week to try to get to that mark, and then try to enter to be a part of it.
Well, for Jamaica, we literally have, and I'd like to invite both of you one year to come to Jamaica. In March, we have what's called the Boys and Girls Championship. I know you said Penn Relays is the best, but you need to come to Jamaica for that one.
Of course.
It is really awesome, and the energy, you love it. If you ever need to go, just let me know, and I'll make sure you guys get there. And so for us, great. So plan now for next year. It's March. And you have my information afterwards. Anyway, but for the athletes coming to the Penn Relays, they also have to qualify from Jamaica just to get here. So that meet is run in March, and it's usually the first and second runners. And it's all about your time that gets you here. So you have so many schools in Jamaica, and if the timing is not right, you do not get to come to the Penn Relays.
Wow. Yeah, it's tough too, because here again, the Penn Relays is at the end of April, and the outdoor season, high school high school outdoor season starts in April. So you realistically, you only have, if you don't have a good mark from last spring or indoor, you only have maybe 1 or 2 meets to qualify for Penn Relays.
Yeah, if that, yeah.
And, and if you don't do it even if you do it at one of those last chance meets, the meet could be filled up. Yeah. The meet could be filled up, and you won't be able to get in because you got in too late. So it's really tricky here in the United States, and here in New Jersey, because again, you got maybe that first or second meet of the outdoor season to try and get a time, or try and get a height, or a distance, as far as throws go, to qualify. It's hard.
Well, so why do they do it so early? There's no way to put it later in the spring?
The seasons, maybe the high school and how college and all the timing, because there's also college kids there. It's just kind of like where it falls. And remember, it only affects us like that because the southern schools they're running already. We are held back by weather.
Right.
So, and that's what's the difference between northern New Jersey and, being in, those warmer places is Texas and things. Usually I say that's why their track teams always start off better than us, and then we catch up near the end, is because we actually just started. So we need time to actually practice, to get there. So it really only affects us. But like Coach said, you try to get a good mark the season before. You try to build on it. An indoor, try your best. So if you train hard indoor, when you hit the track, hopefully you're kind of trained enough to hit the mark. But it's difficult. It's not for the weak.
Right. And as far as the date, that's when everybody is available. That's why Penn Relays, that's when high school, college, and the pros, they're all available to come to Pennsylvania for that meet. It's the biggest track meet in the world. Okay. Bigger than world championships, bigger than the Olympics. Wow. The Penn Relays is the biggest track event in the world, because again, every level, even now at middle school, there are middle school events. So you got middle school, high school, college, and pro events at the Penn Relays. So that's when everybody's available. And, it's unfortunate for the Northeast schools and, Northern school or, Northern states, Northern high school athletes, because again, across the South, everywhere below Virginia, they do it year round. They do it year round. Florida, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, they do it year round. They have the weather to do that year round. So, that's a little bit of an advantage. But our kids here in the Northeast, New York, Boston, we Michigan, we do well. We do well. I've been fortunate enough to coach 2 athletes at Penn Relays, and they've done well. So, yeah. Yep.
Nice. So let's address the topic of the student who's out of school on a track scholarship and gets injured. How do we address that if the injury is bad enough that the child cannot run anymore? How would that affect the scholarship? Because you went to school to run and now you can't run or throw or whatever.
So unfortunately, the track scholarships usually are yearly, and they can get renewed or not get renewed. With anything, usually they won't take it from you that year when you get hurt. But like I said, scholarships are very few and in between. So if you get injured to the point where you cannot run, then you cannot fulfill the needs of your scholarship. So you can finish out that year, and then the next year you can still keep all the other pieces of the scholarship, if they found, money and education, what your grades and everything. But that piece of money, because we only get that little chunk, we can't just save it for someone who's not, because track scholarships are not huge like a football or basketball scholarship. We don't get as much money. So unfortunately, if your career ending injury, the track and field part of your scholarship will only go through the end of that year. And then the next year you would have to use your other scholarships to help you stay in school. Sometimes if you got the injury that can heal, and we know like the doctor said, oh, they'll be back, and you believe in that kid, and they're like, oh, their kid is coming back, you just need 6 months or, one more season, then you can most likely keep the scholarship. But when it's like definite career ending, unfortunately, we just don't have the money to keep you on, and you love, and those kids are sometimes one of the best kids, and you love them, you hate it because when you pull that money, they're going to end up going home. But at the same time, it's a job. And, a scholarship, I tell everybody, just like you go to work, when you come to school, the scholarship, that's your job. The track team is your job. You are being paid through scholarship to be on this team, and you have to do your job. And just as you can't do your job at work, and you're going to get fired, unfortunately, if you can't do your job, at all. But if, like I said, if it's like something a doctor said, you just need 6 months, no, they're not going to pull your scholarship. But if it's career ending, unfortunately,
your best ability is availability. And if you are not available, the college sports landscape has changed so much with the transfer portal and JUCO and stuff. So there is always somebody ready to replace you. So you have to do what is necessary to stay healthy. Now, if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and you do injure yourself, it's up to the coaches. It's up to the coaches, and it's up to the school if they have the money. You can do a medical red shirt, which will save you that season of eligibility. You can do a medical red shirt like that. But like Coach said, a career-ending injury is really unfortunate, but like she said, it is a business. It is a business, and again, the best ability you have is your availability and durability. So,
and that goes the same thing with just being grade ineligible. That's the same thing. If you flunk out, your money is going, if you get all F's, you may be able to come to school next season, next year. They'll say, we'll give you another year, but that next year, if you can't compete because you failed all your classes, we also need that money again, because who's to say what you're going to do, So it all kind of goes like with the year, because sometimes it's bad recruiting year and you may have money, you know what I mean? It's like a roll of the dice, but, it's unfortunate. You just kind of pray for no injuries, and like
Right.
Coach said, keep your body healthy and, see the trainer. Like, don't wait. That's the main thing about injuries. Don't wait to see the trainer. Don't push something that you should not push. There's so many kids that get hurt, and I'm like, you didn't tell me. Oh, it's been bothering me for weeks. You didn't mention it to me. Oh, because you've been popping a whole bunch of motion before you came to practice, so I couldn't see it. And now you've been hurt for weeks, and now you out for 6 weeks. So listen to your body. I know you don't want to lose your spot. The kids don't want to lose their spot, especially relays. Hot ticket. I don't want to lose my relay spot because, like she said, it's a big business. So, if you get taken off the relay for that 1 week, the next week you want to come back, you may not have that spot anymore. So, listen to your body, take care of injuries early. See the trainer. Trainers are available for you all the time. Go to the trainer and see the trainer. Don't be afraid. I know everybody says, I don't want to see the trainer because they're going to make me sit out a week. That's what they don't want to see the trainer. But then you go too far and your season is over for good. So,
right.
And that is so true, especially when it depends on their age and how much longer they have. And this is their final year to run at the Penn Relays. They will not tell you about that injury because they want to be. And if you get that spot to be on the relay team, it's like their entire life. So it is hard, and I understand, but talk to your coach. Let them know early. I feel a little pain in my ankle. This is not her. Let me know now because I see it out. And there's so many things out there now that they can use for your body and put on these straps and help you. But the sooner the coach know, the better they can help you out. But don't wait and take that Motrin, as she said, and you come in, you're just doing more harm to your body than you realize. Talk to your coach. They are human. They are here for you. They might be strict. They love you, and they want to see you succeed. Talk to them.
And it's okay to sit out a week.
Yes.
We had a girl, and she wanted to kill me. I won't mention her name because she's probably watching. We made her sit out 3 weeks in a row. But when she went to championship, she was ready to go. Because she had this thing, and I'm like, it's not ready. She had a hip, and she would go out there, and we'd test her every week. Do a 50. She could do a 50, do 100. She can't do it. Nope, you're sitting out. She crying because they want to compete. That's one thing about track runners. They don't want to sit out.
Yeah.
They want to compete. She's crying. I'm like, you sit out. Head coach Seller. I'm the sprint coach. So, I'm just in my little bubble with the sprinters. I love it. But they go to the head coach, and I'm like, go over there and tell me. I already know because he already told me he making them sit out. They come back to me crying. And I'm like, but it's all right because in that 3 weeks she came back and she was able to leave with a sectional championship. So, it's okay to sit out. It's okay to be injured and get it taken care of early before it turns into something serious. And you won't run again. I had a girl that on my junior team. Oh, I love her to death. She went to Dwight Morrow. On her junior team, her mom pushed her at a young age, 13, 14. She got to Dwight Morrow and never ran again because she hurt herself so bad. And I kept saying, don't go. And I would train kids on other day and I'd go down because I stopped training her because I knew she was hurt. And her mother took her out there and pushed her and hired a special trainer beyond me because she thought I didn't know enough and pushed her. She never ran a day of high school or college track. And she was a star. Just because they wouldn't nurse one simple little heel splint thing in the bottom of the foot. And she probably still doesn't walk, right on the bottom of her feet because her mother just ran it out and she never ran again. So, parents also listen to your kids. They're not always lying. We have to, as coaches and as parents, Mama 4, I know, they fake the tummy aches and things like that. But with athletes, listen, they're not always lying. A lot of times they are really hurting. It is a hard sport. We may not be hit like football, but we are using our bodies every day to them. No one knows what it means to sprint because people can't sprint. No one knows what it means to push your body to the fastest that it can possibly go 10 times because you're going to do 10 100s in my practice. 10. All the way full out sprints. And then a parent will go, well, I'm going to have them run on Saturday too. No. Let your child rest, because I have killed them all week. Believe me, they don't need to run no more. Let them be, but listen to them, believe in them, trust them when they say they're injury. And if you are an athlete, speak up. It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
One thing I stress to my athletes is the way you can prevent injury or reduce your risk of injury is to be proactive. Like really do the stretches, do the like I personally, like with my squad, with my kids, that I place a premium on hip mobility and stuff like that, because a lot of injuries starts with, you guys know, a lot of injuries, a lot of back issues starts with tight glutes, tight hips, bad hips and hamstrings and stuff like that. And that can be taken care of with just regular stretching and being hydrated. At the college level, I told Olivia, I told my own daughter, like, yo, go in the cold tub. Like, take advantage. You have these resources. If there's a yoga instructor on campus, like, go and take, do some yoga stretches. Like, be proactive so that you can try and prevent injuries. Because again, like Coach said, they do train hard. They train hard. Any good coaches, you are going to train hard if you're going to be any good at whatever level, youth, high school, and especially college. Like, the training is really hard and it beats up your body. So, like, you have to be proactive in preventing injury. Don't be reactive, because once you start getting these little nagging injuries, like because you don't want to sit out and you pop in Motrin or Advil, stuff like that, they never heal. They never heal 100%. And so one thing you can do, you can control, is to reduce the risk of injury by being proactive. And that's by being, again, stretching and taking care of your body.
And Coach, that's my girls out. You said that and I laughed because they always laugh at me. I tell a story. My college girls, they go to the ice machine in the hotel and they fill the tub up with cold water. And they go to the ice machine and they get buckets. And they'll send me a picture. Coach, they in their uniform, in the tub, in the ice, in the hotel as we're traveling for these meets, because their distance run, they ran a 5,000 and they got to run a 10,000 the next day. And they know. I know. I can't even imagine. But, they're in the ice bath, in the hotel, in their uniform, because they know how to prevent the injury. They ran 5,000 meters and they got to run 10,000 meters the very next day. You need to stay. They know if they don't take that ice bath in the hotel, their bodies is going to feel crazy the next day trying to run the next race. So they have to, take care of their body and understand what that means. And parents have to support that. You may not want to see the ice in your bath. You may not, and the parents hate it when I tell them, your kids need to go home and take a bath, not a shower. Oh, they don't wash the tub. I don't care. Today's practice requires a bath. And I tell them all the time, today's practice requires a bath. And then I tell the kids, and they'll laugh because they'll tell you, the little ones, like at McLeod, the little 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, what do? You spray the tub with 409, you take the rag and you wipe. I taught it to them. And the parents say, oh my God, the kids is wiping the tub. I said, because I'm teaching them. Because I want them to take a bath after we run, all these hills, running up and down hills, because they need to get in the tub, because the water in the shower is not enough when they need to soak their bodies. Yeah.
Right. Wow, that is such a good point. See, they're learning a whole lot now, life skills after track. But one thing you mentioned, Coach Cherie, before was the trainers. And everyone can comment, of course. But what about parents who want to hire an additional trainer for their child because they think their child is so good?
So my thing is this. I do Cherie Sprint School. I have a lot of kids that come to me during the summer. I love the fact that you want to do extra things. I do not like it in season, right? Because that's where all the injuries came in. Because their kid is great, and because, once they become great, once it's, as coach would know, once we help them to become great, we are no longer good enough. Even though we help them become as great as they are, then all of a sudden we don't know enough. We don't push them enough. So you want to hire a trainer, but you then overtrain. So when your season is in, you let your coach handle your season. In the off season, 100%, use the Parisi Speed School. You know, you can even hire me. We run all, you know, fall and sprint. I have my own little people that come in. Hire who you want in the off season to stay in shape if they're not doing anything else. But do not overwork your athletes in season. It is not necessary. Their bodies have enough through regular practice. You are not making them better. You're actually hurting them. So yes, in the off season, if they're not doing basketball, if they're not, and like I said, if they're not doing all those other things, if they're just, you know, doing nothing, yes, do something, hire someone to help them. But in season, trust in your coaches. And if you don't trust in your coaches, overworking them is not going to make them better. Then maybe you just need a different team. You know what I mean? Because the overworking will cause injury.
Got it. Okay. What else? Okay, so one last thing. Any other pitfalls that parents should avoid when their child is looking to get sports scholarships, track scholarships? Anything they should keep in the back of their mind, or what they should look out for? Questions to ask?
Divisions, like we said earlier, that's the main thing. As kids want to be Division I, parents want to have a Division I kid. And the parent almost wanted sometimes more than the kid because it's big on them, because they can say, my kid goes to a D1 school. Mm-hmm. Let's don't get caught up in divisions. Like Coach said, my son, you know, he loved football. He couldn't make it in those D schools, so he went to a JUCO. You wouldn't even know. Coach, no, I posted him more than anybody in the world because I'm like, yes, go. You in college? I don't care. Go, support them. Don't get caught up in that. Don't go with the first coach that contact you. Don't fall for that. Don't go for the first offer. Listen, go around. Never accept an offer to anything without visiting the school and meeting everyone, not just on the team. See how the president of the school is. Meet guidance counselors. Go to the school. Go to the campus. You know, and like you said, coming from another country, it must be even harder. But you have to do your research. But the main thing for everyone is do not get caught up in divisions. That is the downfall of people. I mean, I recruit so many D1 athletes that went back into the transfer portal because D1 schools were so big and they came from a tiny high school and now they went to these big universities and now they hate their life because they're there. You know, so make sure your child is comfortable with the school. Forget the sports. Make sure your child is comfortable with the school. And then are they comfortable with the team? Are they comfortable with the dorming? How the school is set up? Think of them as a student first, athlete second. And that's the main thing. You know, yes, you want the money and yes, you want them to go for free, but they will leave and drop out if they are not happy. So it didn't matter anyway.
Absolutely.
My advice to parents, is be realistic about your child's ability. Yeah, we would all love our kids to go to USC or Georgia or, you know, all the schools that you see, Texas A&M, the big schools that you see on television and stuff like that. And, you know, who go out and represent Team USA. But you know what? Maybe your son, your daughter is not built for that life. Because you can say, you know, and even Michelle will tell you, they can put in Jamaica, they can put the carrot of Usain Bolt and Shelly Ann Fraser Price. But are you willing to train like them? To be them, are you willing to put that kind of work in, the amount of work that it takes to be Usain Bolt or Sharika Jackson? Are you willing to put in that work? Are you willing to put in the work that it takes to be a Joe Kovacs or a Ryan Krauser or, you know, we just saw Laggy Tasalga. win worlds in discus. Are you willing to put in that work? Because again, if you're not, you can't throw at the University of Iowa, or you can't throw at the University of Texas, or you can't do that. So I would say to parents, just really be realistic. And to our student athletes, do your due diligence, do the homework. You may want to go to USC, but how do you know USC has what you want to study has your major? How would you feel if you ended up at a school and they didn't, or if you wanted to go, you put all your eggs in the University of South Carolina basket, but they don't have your major? You have to make the list. Make the list. Make your top five schools. Make a list of another 5 schools that you can get into. And again, how do you even know you can get into USC? USC acceptance rate is I think like 3%. Everybody that applies to USC doesn't get in. Right. Whether on scholarship or not, athlete or not. Maybe a smaller school might be a better fit for you. Fairleigh Dickinson is Division I. St. Peter's University is Division I. Are they Power 5 schools? No, but it's still Division I. So get out of that mindset, and consider the HBCUs too. Also, it's not always all about Clemson and all of the big Power 5 schools again that you see on TV. Quiet as it's kept, North Carolina A&T has been just as dominant as some of the Power 5 schools that compete in the NCAA. You can go to Winston-Salem State and dominate the CIHWC.
Right.
Again, there are a number of schools. So really just be open to all options. Mm-hmm. Don't be closed-minded. Mm-hmm. Don't be closed-minded. And again, all the CIHWC schools, they're all Division II. But again, if you throw 65 feet, you're going to qualify. You're going to qualify for NCAAs, nationals. You'll be just as good. So that's my advice to the parents and students, man. Just students, do your due diligence. Parents, be realistic. Be realistic.
Okay. Any other? Oh yeah, go ahead, Ms. Michelle.
And basically, I was going to say I endorse exactly what both coaches are saying. Do your research. Do your research, and also make sure the school is a fit for your child personality. Mm-hmm. That is something that can be tragic as well. So do your homework, as coach says, go visit, talk to the people, see what's going on, because maybe some of these huge campus will make your child feel so small and so uncomfortable that you deal with the whole mental aspect. I'm always mind, body, and soul when it comes on to this, right? So I can't even say much more than what both coaches have said. Do your homework, make sure it's a right fit for your child. And importantly, you always have to have a backup plan. Right. You can get injured. What happens if you want to be a doctor and the course that you're on is not preparing you to become the next sports doctor? Then you're out, because life happens. Right. So you need to have a backup plan.
Okay. Well, what you all said are definitely what we're always talking about when I have a conversation with families. There are 4,000 universities in this country. There's one that's the best fit for you, whether you want to be a runner or whatever type of athlete, or if you're not an athlete, for your academic prowess. There'll be some place that will take you and you will do well in whatever it is you're supposed to do. So, well, I want to thank you all for indulging me this afternoon, this evening, and sharing. It's been something on my mind because I always feel like so many of our kids have these talents and they're not totally guided. And I know the parents may not know what to do. So I'm hoping everybody who's got a child who has some type of skill, who enjoys it, joined us this evening. We had Coach Cherie Ware-Powell. We had, I'm going to say again, Coach Michelle Tulloch-Neil and Coach John J.P. Prescott coming to share with us on track and how your child can use that strength to get scholarship money to go to college and get an education. So I want to thank them for spending time with us, and also to our partners, College Cafe, Parent Matters, Golden V, and of course, NAAHP. We are so thankful that you gave us this time to share with our audience, and to everyone who joined us, thank you so much. And we hope to see you on our next webinar. Take care, everyone, and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.